So while we have been married for 5 years, in these technical mathematical
It's
terms,
something like we've been married 30 years.
37 years.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Welcome to Life Unleashed.
The podcast all about creating the best life for you and your furry best friend.
If you're a dog mom on the go, juggling life, work, and the endless joys of being a dog parent, then you're in the right place. I'm Dani.
And I'm Nick.
And together with the incredible dog mom community from Up Pup, we're here to share advice, stories, and the obsession we have over the love for our dogs.
Get ready to laugh, learn, and lean on each other because life with your dog just got even more awesome.
Welcome back to Life Unleashed.
Episode 3.
Are
we pros now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't think so. But today we're going to be talking about all about what? I'm getting used to this talking thing. Today we'll be talking about working together, husband and wife.
Yeah, what it's like to work like as a husband and wife couple in a business together. When you tell a lot of people that like you work with your significant other, a lot of people are like, I could never do that.
Yeah, a lot of people think it would be the biggest nightmare. And I'm like, why did you marry someone that you wouldn't enjoy doing every second of life with? But on the other hand, I do definitely see where they're coming from because you don't have any time to yourself.
Well, there's a total different dynamic between us at work, and we're going to get into this today, but then us at home, I would say.
Yeah, there is a different dynamic. We are still the same people, but we work in different ways, and we have almost like a different level of like responsibility and almost like a respect for each other that's different in the workplace than at home, because in work we've just learned really well, like business is business. You can't get your feelings hurt. You can't be worried about someone like bossing you around, where like in a relationship you don't want someone to be like super bossy, but in the workplace like everyone just knows their responsibilities. We do what we have to do, and if you don't like an idea or you don't like something,
Know the stats. I'll let you go.
I only kind of know the stats. This was Nick's finding, but you read something.
Okay, basically what it is if you do the calculation for how much time you spend with your spouse, spouses that don't work together,
The average couple.
I don't know the exact numbers, but give me like a little grace here. But I think it's about roughly 2 hours a day is what the average couple spends together. So if you multiply that out over a year, you get X number of hours. And then you take couples that work together, and particularly like if you work a lot, you're now multiplying that number up to 10
Most worried about how our dynamic was going to work because, as you said in episode 1, this was my idea and you weren't really involved, and then all of a sudden I'm bringing you in and asking you to help me, and I wasn't quite sure how you were going to navigate something that was essentially mine and how you were going to take that, because I was going to have to be giving you to the direction. I was going to have to be giving you, I was essentially going to be your boss in that moment of time. And I didn't know how that was going to work because, a lot of people in their household, the man is the leader of the house. And so now in this business world, I was going to be the leader at that time. I definitely don't think it's that way anymore. And we changed over time. But in that time, that was probably the scariest thing, was I wasn't sure how that was going to go about.
Like how that I would take it, basically?
Yeah, basically. Or like, was it going to stay this way? And just like a bunch of unknowns.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about, and for a lot of guys, I think it can be an ego problem. I think that like if your ego is like, I'm not going to let my wife tell me what to do, like then your ego gets hurt. They're just not going to be able to stand up to that day after day after day.
Yeah, I think that would be a fear, and I hope that you don't feel like your ego was hurt, but you did a very good job at navigating that, because for you, I'm sure it was a bunch of unknowns as well.
It definitely was. I think that brings up like a really good point of like what our roles are now, like day to day, and how we like separate that.
I feel like for the most part, we know each other's strengths and weaknesses too. And so we are lucky to have a great balance of like something that I'm good at, you're good at something else. So we're not competing for the same tasks or even the same desires. I feel like we enjoy doing different things, which really allows us to thrive. If we were both really wanting to film the stories and like be the face, then like that could be a problem, because how would you balance that out? But you enjoy being the behind the scenes cameraman, and I enjoy being in front of the camera. So that just like is an example of how it works out well for us.
Yeah, I think that would be a problem if say you're in a business with your best friend and you guys wanted to do the same stuff. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a problem no matter what. I think maybe it would be a bigger problem if like you're married, because obviously you don't get to leave work with your best friend. You still get to leave work and go home to your own house and get to vent about your problems and all that type of stuff. You don't get to do that as a married couple because you live together.
Yeah, I think that is also a great point of like figuring out that balance of work and life. And while we do have that relationship balance, the communication is constantly business no matter where we are. And sometimes we'll even have a specific date night of like, okay, we're not going to talk about business, but it always happens because it's literally our whole life. So we can't really help ourselves from talking about that.
Yeah, that is another question that I wanted to ask, is like talk about separating like work and like life balance between the two.
So overall, we do a great job because we have those responsibilities in the building, and then outside of the building, we kind of have this different relationship where, you know, like I said, in the office, maybe I have to somewhat be your boss in some aspects, and then you're my boss in other aspects. But when we leave, we drop all of those behind, and we really have that, you know, somewhat normal relationship. It's hard to know what a normal relationship is anymore, but like for what we see it, that is our normal relationship.
I think one of the biggest things to like making sure fights don't happen is kind of like what you just said is, Danielle, I am totally okay listening 100% to Danielle in her realm of stuff, like her area of expertise, and she seems to be totally okay listening to me and taking direction in my area of expertise, and we're okay with that. I think the only time conflicts come is like when we both feel very strongly about one specific direction and we're disagreeing.
That is definitely the hardest part, is when we both feel like we're right or we have the better idea, and then we have to almost compete to make the other person agree with you. But for the most part, we have found a way for that to work well by bringing our points to, you know, really explain why we think what we're thinking. And it's not a competition. It is trying to let the other person understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, both of us know, and this is probably like a super pro, is if you're with even a best friend, but definitely other people, you don't know, does this person truly have like my best interest at heart? Do they have the business's best interest at heart? We know without a shadow of a doubt that even if we disagree, that it's from the right place. And it's coming from the right place. And so that's like the base ground level. And then we can sit down and hash everything out. And whoever has the better points typically is going to be the path that we go down.
Yeah.
And I think that we have a good method of doing that. And we'll bring Inslee in here at some point. She is sometimes the person that after we've done it on our own, we'll come, all right, this is my idea. Danielle will say, this is her idea. We'll lay out the different things. And Inslee is kind of the person that's like, I don't want to call it the tiebreaker, but maybe the tiebreaker.
Sometimes she definitely is. And sometimes she gets to see the heat of the moment arguments. But for the most part, I feel like we do our best to, stay calm.
So one thing that we did before this episode is we asked some questions on Instagram. And Danielle, I wanted to do a little bit of like maybe rapid fire and have you answer some of these.
Okay, rapid fire Q&A.
Okay, so how much time do you spend apart when you aren't working?
Not much, honestly. The only thing that we really have for ourselves that we strictly do on our own is working out. And there even are times where that is not the case because we just did a giant hiking trip and we spent hours and hours training for that. But our consistent schedule is that I will go to the gym for an hour and that is our 1 hour apart. But other than that, we wake up, we work all day, we go to the gym for that 1 hour, come home, we eat dinner together, we hang out the rest of the night, and that is that. So we have like 1 hour apart a day. But the misconception is that we are spending every waking moment in this office together when there are, 6, 7 different rooms in here. We're doing our own tasks. So we are not physically seeing each other. And even if we are working on different tasks. So it is not like we are constantly together all day, every day. Like while we are in the same building, we're not hanging out,
That makes sense. This is my question. Do you feel that you need alone time or time apart?
For the most part, no, which is surprising because I am definitely the person as a kid. Like I could not wait to get home after a sleepover. Like I was sick of friends. Like I just needed my time. I'm an introvert. I am. And so it's very exhausting for me to hang out and do things for an extended period of time. But with Nick, he's just my person. So it's just easy and I don't feel that way with you. So I would say for the most part, no.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it is nice for us to have like our own workout time where we go do that, but I don't even feel like that's needed. I feel that when we were doing our hiking stuff, we enjoyed spending that time together. So Danielle just likes a different workout than I do.
How do we never run out of things to talk about?
That is a great question. Well, I can talk all day long about anything, I feel like.
It's somehow we've been married for 37 years and we haven't run out of things to talk about.
Well, the business is always changing, and getting back to that like work-life balance, we definitely do not have that right now, but that's okay. We've chosen that and we like our current balance. So we like coming home from work and still talking about work and doing those things. It's what we really enjoy.
It's we always refer to the business as our child, and parents are always talking about their child, caring for their child, doing anything for it, and that really is us with this business.
Right. And what I believe about work-life balance is I think that you need to you should spend time doing the things that you really enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy your job and that's one of the things that you really enjoy. We just happen to enjoy our job so much that is also one of our biggest hobbies. We like spending our time doing all of that. So there's nothing else most of the time that I would rather be doing. And so I'm just doing more of what I want to. And so to somebody that might look totally unbalanced. They're like, why are you working, at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night or whatever when you've been working starting at like 6 a.m.? They'd be like, that's a super unbalanced life. But to me, that's what I want to be doing at that time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
All right, rapid fire. What's my next question?
Let's see. Okay, do you want to have kids?
We definitely want to have kids. And the timeline always gets pushed off. We had planned to have kids by now. And this business is our kid. And it consumes all of our time and all of our money. So kids have been put on pause. We say maybe next year, but we've said that for the past few years. So we don't really have a timeline. We've learned to not really plan on that right now, and we're just figuring it out as we go. And I know the biggest thing, if you're watching this, you might be thinking it is like you're never ready and you just got to do it at some point. And we definitely know that, but we're 28 years old and we don't have a rush right now, and this business is our child, so we're just putting everything we have into it.
Okay, what is the biggest pet peeve that the other one does?
Oh gosh.
I can take it. You can be honest.
I don't know that it's like really a pet peeve. I don't know what's classified as a pet peeve, but something that I get the most irritated with is that my brain moves so fast and Nick's brain does not. So he takes forever to get his point across. And also, I think that is also like, meshed with the fact that you just love talking. So,
Well, okay, so I think by verbalizing, as I'm getting my statement out, that's how I think and how I process. So my pet peeve is actually the opposite of that. I wish Danielle would let me verbally process and things like that more without getting so frustrated.
yep. So that's how you know that we are a married couple is one person's thing is the other person's thing in reverse.
Okay, favorite part of working together?
My favorite part of working together is that we get to look back and have all of these memories. We relationship and business and memories and all of that is so fun. And also that goes hand in hand with that is like all of the videos that we have to look back on and really, have those memories, I guess, is really.
Yeah, for me, I cannot imagine, now that we've been working together for 5 years, I literally could not imagine a life where we weren't working together. So say we weren't doing Tails Up Pup 10, 20 years from now, I could not imagine not having like a job that we were at together.
It would be so different.
It would be so different. I think it would be sad. I love being able to like come to work and Danielle to be there. I love to be able to go home and us to truly have those shared experiences, and like we can talk on a much deeper level about like we're not just recounting our day to each other. We're talking about a lot deeper things about that day and about the business, and I love being able to do that. And if we weren't working together, it'd be hard to have those conversations.
We'll see what Ensley ends up saying, but my perspective is that we work very well together because we have those different strengths and weaknesses, and we complement each other. So while, we might sometimes bicker or have disagreements, we work so well together in the grand scheme of what we can do. And also, I did want to say that there sometimes are tasks that none of us want to do. For example, accounting or sales tax, but we had to navigate that in a way of figuring out who was going to, there's always going to be a task someone there by seeing those, because like I said, if you have the same strengths, the same weaknesses, and the same desires, then it probably would be pretty hard to build something, because someone's going to have to end up doing something they don't want or don't know how to do and have to figure it out. So unless that's your desire, then it might not work out. So
Yeah, you don't want to have to sacrifice and end up becoming resentful if the other person's doing something that you want to be doing.
At the end of the day, the biggest thing would definitely be trust. If you don't trust your partner, then why would you trust them in your business? And that just, I feel like, is the key thing that would cause problems in every single aspect. So you might want to look into your relationship if you don't trust them already. But I would definitely not start a relationship and in a business if you don't trust someone, because that is kind of like the biggest thing. You're having to make these decisions, and if you think that they're going to make one that's not great for you, then that would be really sad.
The last thing that I'll say is do not get into business with a best friend or a spouse or family if you really haven't done what Danielle said, and to think about your strengths, think about your weaknesses, and truly, look forward into the future about how this relationship is going to work out, because it can get very, very messy. You don't want your relationship comes first, and it comes first with your friends, your family, and of course your spouse. And you do not want to just jump into it thinking oh, we'll just figure it out along the way. Do some of that thinking beforehand, because it can, stop a really messy situation, because running a business together can be very stressful. You're going to have to handle a lot of different, problems together. And if you guys do not have a good base and a strong relationship, it's going to make your life a lot harder. And of course, your relationship comes first, and you don't want the business to break you guys up.
I actually think the biggest thing, and this goes with the trust, is money. Every decision you're making, you have to make money to pay your bills, and you're going to want to make more money to have a more successful business. So money is kind of at the top of every decision you're making. And so if you don't trust them, then you're not going to be able to be in agreement.
If you don't agree on general financial principles, like how much money you want to make, all of these things, then it's going to be a huge problem. If one person's like, I want to invest every extra dollar back into the business, and the other person's like, no, I want to take every bit that we can, then you're, kind of at a dead end, and that's going to be a problem.
And we've actually had those discussions, and luckily we are in a relationship where we have discussions and not someone saying this is what's happening, because we did have different visions for what we wanted to grow to be, and we've communicated about it, and now we've come to an agreement. But you could have this business, Tails Up Pup, stay in your basement and be a one-man show, and you could run a profitable business that way. But you could also grow to be a team of 25 if you wanted. You could be 100. You can grow to be whatever you want. You have to take the steps to get there. But if you don't have the same vision, then that would be the biggest problem.
Yeah, I agree. You have to have the same vision. If you don't have that, don't even get started together.
All right, let's hear from Ensley.
I'm so excited to hear Ensley's opinion on this, and let's hear from her.
All right, we have the woman herself. What, has it been 2 whole years that you have experienced a relationship with us?
3.
Almost 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
2 complete years.
2 complete years and almost a third one.
Correct.
So you know us pretty well.
I really do.
So
it's been a journey.
What has it been like? I don't know if I'm ready for this, but I do want you to be honest.
Danny is on the hot seat right now.
I'm scared.
In full honesty, guys, it's horrible.
Ensley!
It's horrible?
I'm just kidding. I had to do that.
Ensley's quitting on film.
If you know me, then you know that I have to joke at first, and then I'll be serious.
She's a wannabe comedian.
In all honesty, I've told Nick this before, and he might remember when I say this, but maybe he already remembers. I've said that you guys are like the perfect balance of each other when it comes to being business partners. And when I say that, and what I mean by that is I feel like your business decision making, your business styles are the complete opposite of each other in good ways. Yeah. Because when there needs to be certain decisions made, sometimes it's better to go with Nick's points of view, and then sometimes it's better to go with your points of view. And that's what makes good business decisions, is the difference between both of you.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like I agree that's that strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. I come in and sometimes, and most of the time too, I heard y'all talking about how sometimes you'll come in and I'm like a tiebreaker. And most of the time, I don't really know. I mean, now I can guess whose side it is. But it's not like you come in here and you say, this is my point of view, and then this is Nick's point of view. Yeah. It's usually completely unbiased, and you just say, hey, this is the choice, this is the choice. Usually I know. But I can decide, well, I think, this time this is the better decision.
Yeah.
It's just going to lead us down the right path. So yeah, it's nice and refreshing to have that 2 different styles.
Yeah, and I feel like you also get like that you're not going to hurt our feelings because our feelings aren't attached to those things. Like we're
Right.
trying to make the best decision for the business.
Yeah.
So you all yes.
Not only are our feelings
sharing.
not only are our feelings not attached to it, but we, like Inslee said, our names aren't even attached to the idea. We want the idea to stand alone by itself, not attached to either of us, and then let the best idea win.
Yeah, and I think that's why the duo works, because both of you can separate your feelings from the business decisions and you don't take it personally. And I mean, I think that's also why I play a good role too. We don't put our feelings and emotions into
And we put
passionate. That's the word. That's the word, people. Passionate. Remember this. It's not anger. It's passion. I had to tell Dani, no, Nick is not yelling at you. He's just passionate.
Nick is very passionate. I think that's what's hard for me to like explain this to everyone else is like our feelings and our emotions are in it, but the personality part is detached. Like we
Right.
don't take it as, yeah, you don't like me or you think that I'm stupid, but our feelings are in it because like we put our efforts into it. We're passionate about it.
There's no, I mean, there's definitely emotion when it comes to business decisions because we are passionate about our point of view. However, at the end of the day, when it doesn't go your way, we're not crying about it.
Right. And Nick is the most passionate in the sense that his voice just gets very loud. So
Yeah, his tone.
we have to tell him to turn down a few notches of volume.
But I hear passion. I
Yeah.
hear passion. And, you know, as an employee, I respect that. I respect some passion towards my boss. I want my boss to be passionate about
it's much
what we're
better
doing.
than being dull and
Yeah.
uncaring. That's for
But
sure.
again, opposites, you calm and you come in calmly about the situation, so it all balances.
Opposites
it's all
attract.
It's all about balance, and yeah, having that opposite effect. That's what I tell people when they're like, "Oh yeah, what's it like to work with a married couple?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, they just balance each other out.
Yeah.
It isn't." And I always absolutely not. Sorry, Paul, if you're watching this. Love you. But I personally enjoy keeping that part of my life separate. I heard you saying, like, you know, and I love to do everything with Paul. I really do. But it's nice and refreshing for me to leave in the morning. I come home and I don't even talk to Paul about work. I
Yeah.
just keep that completely separate. It's just not something I personally like to bring into our relationship. And that's just me being different and having
I feel like
different
that's
style.
a common.
It's a
common
different
thing.
relationship style, I
Yeah.
feel, because a lot of times Paul and I are not the best about agreeing, and we're not good at about separating the emotions.
Yeah.
I know I'm personally not good about separating the emotions, so I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know I'm not capable of that, therefore I'm not willing to do it.
Well, and it's good that you know that, so you
Yeah.
don't start something and then it ends poorly. So, like in all aspects, because I feel like if you started a business and ended poorly, your relationship would likely end too.
Yeah, I don't think I could separate the two with Paul.
Yeah.
I think I would take everything personally with
So
him.
we just keep it happier.
That's
You
like the
stay
one person.
here.
Yeah,
you keep
exactly.
your relationship with him happy.
Yeah, also, we just don't have the same interests. Like,
Yeah.
when it comes to, my kind of business that I would want to do would probably not be anything
Oh
remotely
yeah, that's
like,
a fun question. What kind of business would you start?
I don't even know. I just know it wouldn't be, like, Paul
Cat
would want,
bandanas?
Paul would want to do something. I mean, I just look at the books that we read. No, not cat bandana. No, this is a really great example. Like, the books that we read are so different because we read at night together all the time. And I just always look at what he's reading and then what I'm reading. And I'm like, this is just so different.
Yeah.
I know y'all are kind of similar. Like, the books that you're interested in, Nick, is something you probably maybe wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I'm over here reading murder mystery books, and Paul's all about rich dad, poor dad,
Yeah.
finance, and I'm like, that makes me stressed. I'm looking at the cover of your book right now. I have anxiety right now.
Yeah.
You're making me worry.
But I think Nick is probably thinking like, you never thought that you would be in a business like this either. Like,
No, that's.
Yeah,
I wonder.
can you touch
how,
on that? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
had no clue and had no plan to start like a dog related business. So, and I don't know how many husbands would be willing to do that.
I was saying, I don't even know how I ended up here.
Honestly, no, but honestly, you're right. Like, how many guys out there would be willing? Because I would say our business that we, it's a more feminine.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, it's more girly. There
It's
we
more
go. It's
girly.
like, I don't want to, hey guys, if you're watching this, you're listening to this, you're still welcome. But it is more girly.
Yeah.
I would say the products are more girly. So yeah, I feel like that would be difficult for a man to.
And over
Take that
time,
over.
Nick has learned like what we are about, like what our goals are and all that, but he still lets me and now you like make more decisions on what we think would be good products to bring and patterns and stuff, because at the end of the day, like we are like the customers.
Right.
We are the girly, like those
Right.
fun patterns and stuff. So
Yeah.
I feel like for the most part, you're okay with passing the baton to the ladies.
Well, I think it really gets down to like understanding and knowing yourself and knowing what you want. I don't want to be like that face and that like number one person. I really like to be the number two. And I think knowing that about myself has allowed me to like really lean into the role that I have here. And like I have carved out space and I do make a big impact, but I'm fine being the number two role.
What does that mean, number two role?
It's not number one, but it's number two.
That means I am number one. He's calling me number one.
Yeah, he's your captain. He's co-captain, is what he's saying. That's what I'm
Wow.
hearing.
This is the first I'm hearing.
This
Okay,
is a lie. The lie, bold-faced lie.
No.
Dani knows.
So I use this example, and hopefully y'all will get this. But like, think about football. You have the head coach, and then you have the next people in line are like your coordinators, your defensive coordinator and your offensive coordinator. I think people that are a lot of times people are the offensive or defensive coordinators and they do really well and they like, I'm going to go be a head coach somewhere because that's just what you do. And I'm the type of person like, I like being a defensive coordinator. I like being in that role. I don't want to necessarily be the head coach. I don't want to be the face of the company. And I definitely am not like our ideal customer. I'm a guy. We're a more feminine, like women are the people buying our products. I'm not that. And I'm okay not being the person that is the number one position.
Yeah, but just know that in terms of actual business, it's equal. In my opinion,
It is. Nick actually
people
makes
to know.
a bunch of decisions behind the scenes.
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he has a say, and he's very passionate.
he is.
Yeah.
But like I was saying before, I like the decisions he makes, and I like the decisions you make, and it just evens out.
So if hiring someone, you would tell them that we are pleasant.
Oh yeah, I definitely would. I wouldn't be like, no, run. Get out.
Wow.
They're crazy. No, I always
Sometimes.
tell people, I always think it's a cool, fun fact to share when people are asking, hey, what do you do? That's always like, everybody loves to talk about like, hey, what do you do for, work? And I explain it and I'm like, yeah, I work for a husband-wife duo. I always say that.
Wow, that's a fun little tagline.
I don't ever leave that out. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I always say the people that I work for are around the same age as me and they're a husband and wife duo. That's what I always explain to people. So
Yeah, that's why we have fun. We're around the same age. We have similar interests, and
Yeah.
we have a good time here.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people, at least that I know that I'm friends with, can say that the people and their business that they're working for is run by people that are their age. Like,
Yeah.
That's kind of unheard. Usually they're like 50, 60 years old and then they're in their 20s. Like,
Hey, we've been married for 37 years, so we are 50 years
I missed
old.
that part where that was, I don't understand that. I think I had left the room and then come back in, but I did hear you say that. The math doesn't add up.
The math is
The math.
mathing.
If you're maybe in dog years.
It's girl
going
math.
from
Haven't you
5
heard
to-
about girl math? This is a big thing right now.
I don't know any math.
Girl
That's
math.
my math. There's no numbers are a mystery to me.
Well, we'll keep you out of the finance
Words
department.
I can do word. Yeah, don't. Actually, I am in somewhat of the finance, and I said you can do this at your own risk.
Yeah. Well, we needed a little help.
I understand. Yeah. Again, people, taxes are horrible.
Don't get into business if you don't want to do taxes.
This is true. This is true. But I'm willing to do whatever.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Well, thank you for coming in and sharing your
Yeah.
thoughts and not roasting me.
No, it's a joy to be here as always. So thanks for having me.
She's saying this
in the hot
willingly.
Yeah, this is scripted. Hold on, I'm reading. It's getting. I can't really see my lines. Nick's head's in the way. Of
Oh my goodness.
My prompter right now.
Well, it's always a fun time when Ensley's here. She brings the comedy here.
I try to entertain.
Well, thank you guys for listening, and I hope y'all learned something new about our relationship, and we'll see you guys next time.